Today I want to finish off fixing this Bobcat up. Now, if you haven't been following along, I bought this thing off Facebook sight unseen and it didn't work. We discovered the motor had a broken rod in it. We fixed the rod, the hydraulics and everything worked. It turned out to be a half decent machine, but it still needs a little bit of work to be put back in service. Now, the main project for today is fixing the 3 pins here. You can see we've got quite a bit of excessive wear in there. Now, I've actually tackled this job before on my old 753 Bobcat, and when pulling all that apart, I found the bottom of the cylinder was all ovaled and egged out. All the boss in the actual quick attach plate was all flogged out, and I ended up cutting them off and welding new bosses on. So I'm really hoping that's not the case this time, because that was a lot of work. Judging by the play in that, it's probably going to be a lot in that pin, because with these later model Bobcats, they went to a harder bushing with a softer pin. So I have got some pin material there. So I'm hoping that is sort of an easy fix on that one, but we won't know till we pull it apart. And I'd say with this bottom pin here, because all our load is on here, that the bushing's pretty much going to be gone. That side's actually not too bad, so I'm hoping we can get away with just chucking a couple bushings in there. So straight away I can already see a design flaw here. This pin can spin even when it's got this locking plate on it. Nothing stops the pin from moving, which is a very poor design, because when the machine's rattling down the job site or whatever, so you look at that pin, it's actually worn in the boss there, and the boss isn't a wearing part. It's really just a cheap way of doing it. Hopefully, if we can turn that. So our grease seal has got a touch of damage on there, but overall, it's not looking too bad. I've got a shim here. Our grease seal in this side's actually intact, which is good. Oh no, it's just fallen apart. It's probably fallen apart from age rather than. I can already see the pin's got pretty bad wear in it. But we can see a pin there, and I can definitely get my nail on that. That's a good couple mil there. The bit that's worrying is it's actually worn in these bosses. So when you, this is what holds the pin in. See how a pin can still turn? So when it's going and you're digging dirt, and dirt gets in the side of these pins, in our pin here, that's why that's worn like it is, because this pin can just freely turn like that. Which, this is a cheap design, because all you got to do is throw this on a lathe, machine it up, and then it goes in the parts bin to be put on a Bobcat. Where on this machine, this has this big flange here, which has a big bolt in it, so the pin is always securely fixed to the bosses. So it can't move, it can't vibrate as the machine's getting used. But this machine isn't much better, because it hasn't got actual welded flanges, but it's got a locking flange. So to pull these pins out, you've got to undo this bolt, push that plate forward, then you can pull the pin out. But the same thing, the problem with that pin not being actually welded to a flange and then bolted is this flops around, the pin flops around, and that way you get wear. Because in the bottom of this arm here, you can see our pin has worn in the actual quick attach plate here. The bushings in this arm, because I've had this apart before, are actually fine, but because that pin's been jiggling for so long, you get unusual wear in the objects that are expensive, where if I had a solid welded flange on a pin, this part would never wear. So I think moving forward on fixing this issue, the problem is it's tucked. We've got all this steel here, so we can't physically get a drill bit in there. Normally what I would have done in this situation is just get an oversized drill bit or a reamer and just reamed that to our neck's hole size, and then done the same with this bushing. Because we've got good amount of bushing in here, if we got, I don't know what size this hole is, say this is a 20mm hole, if we got a 22mm reamer, this would machine this bushing or this boss back out round, and we just machine up an oversized pin on the lathe. So I'm hoping we've got enough clearance through like that I can get a big long drill bit in and just drill that back round, and I'll machine up an oversized bushing, an oversized pin, sorry. And I think when we do it, I'm going to make a pin with a welded flange on it that will bolt up to the factory bolt hole, so we don't have to look at this boss wearing again. Got to be careful I don't mess up the threads on the end of this. I reckon that's full of grease, that's why it's not pushing back. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. If we look at that pin, that's a good almost 3mm just in the top edge there. It's like that on both of the pins. The main part with these pins is you want to make sure this taper lock here is tight in the arm. That last Bobcat I spoke about earlier, that 753, one of these was actually loose and flogged out one of the arms in the bottom, and I actually once I put a new pin in, it was a lot tighter, and then I Loctited it, and we put a bit of amount of force on tightening that bowl up, and I never had troubles with that again. But I have been asked about that machine. I long sold that on when we got rid of the farm. So, but with this machine, I'm just going to order up a set of pins. I reckon those bushes, because there'll be a hardened bush in the bottom of that quick attach plate, they'll be fine. They've probably got very minor wear in it, because we can see all of our wear is in our pins. I did even consider welding these up and trying to machine them back, which I still may do, but I just, because this is a taper here, I don't think I'll be able to hold this in the jaws on the lathe. But I suppose I could probably screw the bolt in and weld it up like that. Maybe I'll give that a go. We just finished welding up those pins. Now I have this bolt here. I found this in the bolt bin. I'm thinking I'm going to screw that into the pin, and that way I'll be able to hold it in the lathe, and then I'll just put the live center in the end, and we should be able to machine it then, as long as it spins pretty true on this bolt, which I think it would, but we're going to find out. So the idea is to screw this in It actually spins pretty true. I think we'll get the live center in here, get the tailstock up, and we should be able to machine that up, I think. So this is the setup we got going. I think this is going to work just fine. I'm lucky I had that bolt, otherwise we wouldn't be able to hold it because of the taper. All right, let's machine this up. So I've just finished machining up one of those pins. While I was doing that, I had a concern that the outside of this bushing was going to be a lot more worn than the inside, and that turned out to be the case. And then I thought, oh, okay, I'll just keep machining it. We might be able to lose, say, how many thousandths off it, and it'll still press right in and will still be tight on the outside bushing. But as you can see, it's quite loose still, and it still won't push in. So this bushing is got quite a bit more wear in it than I originally thought. So I think the best way is to just order a set of lower bushings and pins. So I went ahead and machined up this rod here. Now the idea is this drill bit, I've machined a hole in it. I'm gonna have to probably put 2 tack welds on there to hold the drill bit fixed, but it gives us our length to get in there, and there's just enough clearance that the hole's going to go in straight. So I think we'll put 2 tack welds on there, get the drill, and just see if this is going to work. I think we'll just stick plenty of oil in there. Well, didn't that work awesome? It's a bit bent now. Look at that. I think because I had to use such a small rod here, where I've machined it up the end, there's only a couple mil there, but lucky I didn't break that drill bit because that was expensive. How good's that? Now we've got nice round holes. That's awesome. That was a nice, quick, easy way of doing it. It would have been a lot better if I had a better drill. My drill's not here, but this Milwaukee did all right. I have got a magnet drill, which I did check that first. I was going to weld a plate on here and have me magnet drill facing in there, but the head on it's too big. It hit this housing, so that was literally the best way of doing it without cutting it all off, making new bosses, machining it all up, and then welding it all back together. So I don't know if you could see there, that drill was throwing my wrists around, and because these are plastic housings, what happens is the actual housing twists from the torque of the drill and holds the holds the button on, and if you're not careful you can really hurt your wrist doing that. I've actually done that before. That's exactly what we want. Keep in mind the holes that we drilled with that drill bit there, they're never going to be 100% because every little movement you make up or down or something is going to elongate those holes. But yeah, it's never going to be as good as putting something in the mill where it's all held nice and tight and the mill will directly drill it vertical or something like that. But this is absolutely fine for what we need. The pin's nice and tight in there, there's no slop. We actually had to tap that in with a hammer, obviously, as you saw. So all we need to do now is just make something that goes around this bushing, around this pin, sorry, and we can bolt in the original bolt hole. And I think the bolt hole is oh no, the thread's the other side, but that's fine. With a little bit of paint, it'll almost look factory. It couldn't have turned out any better than that. I think that'll be all right. Have it as hard back as we can to give us the most leg room. Yeah, I think that's going to be nice. It's actually pretty comfy. We've got plenty of room. Sticks are easy to grab. Lap bar. Got plenty of room there. Just got some new parts in the mail. Which there's our new pin. And here's our new bushing. So we'll just get these bottom bushings knocked out and knock the new ones in, and we can start putting this all back together. While that's all warmed up and hot, we'll knock the new bushing in. Easy as that. Joking me. So when I put this plate on, I pretty much used all the shims I have, bar one. So it's going to be hard to see, but there's how many thousandths of movement there, which is pretty much ideal. We'll just stick our grease fittings back in, make sure she takes grease, and it's got very clean hydraulic oil, this thing. We got those pins and bushings all finished off. I gave it a good greasing. It definitely needs a good steam clean. That was a greasy mess of a job, especially with hydraulic oil adding to all the fun. But I'm glad that job's finished off. It's all nice and tight how it should be now. I think we'll give it a good steam clean now, then we can bring it back, pull the wheels off and send them out to get new tyres fitted. Look at this tyre, it's chunk taken out there, massive chunk out there. She's well knackered, that one. The tread on this one's actually pretty good. I mean, it's nothing like new, but it's still got tread on it. I might keep that one for a spare, because this did come with other rims, and we also have odd rims. Like you can see on these ones, it's a different style. I'll show you in a minute. So these two rims are the same, but over here, that one is the same as the other side. But see how this one's, it's a different color as well. And it's like, the valve protector is different. There's got, like, I don't know what they're off. As long as they're the same offset, I'll just measure them before I get the new tyres fitted. This, like I said a minute ago, this come with 3 other rims, so I might keep that one as a spare and have 2 of the same wheel on one side and 2 of the different wheel on the other side, and we get a nice spare wheel. I've just got to fix a hole in it. It's got a slow leak in that one. Oh, there we go. There's our missing wheel. It's got a touch of a little dent in the wheel, but in the rim, we might just quickly fix that up. My new tyres just got delivered, so let's take them to a local tyre shop and get them fitted up. Well, that's going to about do it for the old Bobcat. I did plan on putting new bucket teeth on, but I have got my eye on another bucket which isn't so worn in the jaws there. But more importantly, we got these 3 main pins all done. They're nice and tight now, and with redesigning this pin here, I don't think we're going to see another issue with that. Now, overall with that bushing there, I took off about 1 mil. So we've still got plenty of bushing in there. And again, I don't think we're going to see those bosses wearing out at all because we've got that nice fixed pin in there. That new seat is actually a lot comfier than I thought. When I first sat in it, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. But previously when I've bought seats off eBay, they are just horrible. But at least this one is somewhat molded to your back. But what's the future for this Bobcat? I don't know. I'm not actually sure if I'm going to keep it or not, because it is pretty much the same as my little track skid steer. And when you're doing tight access jobs like I do quite often, the stand on is a lot better because you can see your surroundings, where as you can see on the back of this one, it's all scuffed up, the back door's been hit in a fair few times. And but in saying that though, in winter, being the enclosed cab, it'd be kind of a luxury that I'd like, especially if I forked out the money to get a door. And I did price up a door, and I said no way am I doing that. It was over $1,000 just for this little thing. So I might just it's still got one hinge there. Either I design up my own door if I end up keeping it, or if I sell it, well, the new owner or whatever can put a door on it if they please. But overall, I'm pretty happy. That job was pretty fun putting those pins in. One of them gave us a little bit of trouble, but nothing the die grinder can't help out. But overall, I wasn't going to actually make a video on this, but I saw a few wanted to see some bucket pins getting replaced. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll go on to the next project.